So this is something that I think, Shannon, you might have mentioned once before, but we really didn't get into a big topic about it. So you and Andrew, your ex, have a rule, and it deals with your kids, especially Lucy right now. And what is the rule?
So Lucy is 7, and I feel like she's very much at that age where her friends are asking her if she wants to spend the night, or she's like bugging us about friends spending the night. And we have a rule that of no sleepovers.
So no sleepovers.
There's just too many variables, too many crazy stories.
Yeah.
Even with your closest family,
friends? Even with our closest friends, we don't let her spend the night and call us overprotective. I don't care. But it's just a rule that Andrew and I are like super firm on for right now.
And
like,
you never
could change, but when
you were a kid, you never had sleepovers?
I had sleepovers all the time.
Oh, you did?
I spent the night at my friend's house all the time. Andrew never had a sleepover, ever.
That's right. That's what it was. Because I was feeling like,
he didn't?
If you knew the joy
no,
of it.
No, he didn't.
Is it by choice or he was never invited to one?
No, he wasn't allowed.
His parents wouldn't
allow. It
allow
was like a rule. From what I remember him telling me, yeah.
It's probably smart because back then my parents would let a stranger take us anywhere. You know what I mean? Like nowadays, my best friend mom and dad
Kelly
were
lived
probably
3 doors down, so I was always at her house. You know,
I'm not kidding you when I say this to you. My parents, there were times where we were gone for 3 or so days at a friend's house hanging out, and my parents never called. And this is before cell phones were around.
Really?
Yeah.
My parents.
Oh my God! My parents would shove us out the door in the morning and say, "Be back at Sunday."
They wouldn't even, and I would come to dinner. Like I would, say I left on a Thursday and came home on a Sunday, and I was staying at Steve Gorski's house. I would come home from Steve Gorski's. His mom would drive me home. I would come home and walk in the door, and they didn't even go, "Oh my God, how was everything?" Like I was away for a weekend. They'd be like, "Oh hey, hi Tommy," and I would be like, I'm looking back at it now, going, "Oh my God, my family didn't love me."
And I'll say this. You can look this up if you don't believe me. The world is no more dangerous today for kids than it was back then. It's not more dangerous. There's no more child abductions. There's no more sexual assaults. There's no more deaths of minors. It's all perceived because of the scary news channels and because of social media.
But do you think that, like, you know how they used to say it takes a village to raise a child or whatever?
Yeah.
Do you think that's gone away a little bit?
I do believe it's changed, that people aren't as friendly with their whole neighborhood as they used to be. Everybody's more isolated nowadays, but I just believe it's more helicopter parenting, too, that we worry more about our kids, and we don't let them be as independent as they
our
used
kids
to.
don't want to go a lot of times. I mean, in Lucy's case, Lucy probably does want to go, right?
Lucy's very social. And by the way, I feel like I do let her be quite independent in other areas. This is just something that we're sticklers on right now. But the reason I bring it up is because there's like a new thing, or maybe it's just a new thing to me, called late overs that like all the kids are doing. And
What's
I say
that?
all the kids, like the 7, 8, 9, 10-year-olds, where you can go to a friend's house and you can bring pajamas and you can stay till like midnight, and then your parents come pick you up.
Huh. Seems like a lot of work, but
no, I kind of love it.
My parents would have left me.
Oh my God! Once I'm watching TV and I'm in my pajamas.
But it's a late over. So like her friend Gigi, her mom texted me the other day and was like, "Can Lucy have a late over at our house and stay till like?"
What's the difference of just letting them stay an extra? Like if the only thing missing is sleeping.
It's
because they don't sleep.
Yeah, well that's the part of sleepovers.
Slept.
You never slept.
Yeah, I don't know. Again, too many variables.
Can I tell you something? The problem with the late over is this. At our house, it's 5 o'clock. We're getting a drink.
Right.
And if I've got to go out at midnight to go pick them up, I can't drive and Chelsea can't drive. So it's like one of us can't drink then. So that kind of sucks. But can I think the late over thing is good. Can I tell you a couple of things in my house with my son Luke, who's my youngest, and we have kids that are so spread apart. Like we have kids, Joe's like 10 years older than Luke. So with Luke, he doesn't want to have sleepovers, and one of the biggest reasons he doesn't want to have sleepovers is he wants to play video games, and they don't play video games controller to controller. They play on your
own home, on your own system.
Yeah. So that's one of the biggest reasons why he doesn't want to have sleepovers. That's why kids nowadays don't necessarily love sleepovers. But Luke one time had a sleepover at a friend's house, and I asked him how the parents were, and he goes, they weren't home. I go, what? They have a babysitter there? You're like, no, they weren't. It was just us.
Yeah.
And that's why you don't want to have a sleepover, because the parents, can become a little irresponsible.
I mean, I love my girlfriends. I don't trust some of my girlfriends to have my child overnight.
There's a texter that said, we call them sleep unders. You sleep in your pajamas, watch a movie, go home. I don't think sleep unders is a good name. That needs rebranding. Maybe the late overs is better.
Yeah. Did you guys know what I used to have to do for sleepovers at Steve Gorski's house? This is legit.
Was he the only person's house you ever slept over?
I was never really invited. Actually,
okay, all right.
Actually, it's funny.
I was kind of getting that gist.
My best friends growing up were Steve Gorski, Brad and Brian Yeager, and Tom Barrett. And for some reason, Brad and Brian's parents never let you sleep at their house, but you always had to sleep at your house. Like I think the parents were basically effing all night or something. Like, you know what I mean?
They
were
couldn't
like
wait
crazy.
to get rid of their kids.
They were crazy Italians. But Tom Barrett was a fun house to go to because Tom Barrett's dad had a great bar. So let's just put it that way. So that was kind of like the fun place.
Oh, I went to BJ Taglioli's because his dad let us fire BB guns and eat candy all night. Like there was no supervision.
Oh my God. And they snacks.
Everything Shannon's afraid of. That's what I did.
Candy, I don't care. Like that, I don't care. It's not that. It's like all the other stuff. I don't know.
So at my house, the kids wanted to come over to my house because when my mom died, my dad was like the absent parent. And he was the guy you never wanted to have a sleep with. Mm-hmm. Like we used to be able to do whatever we wanted to. Like there were times we just would be out all night. So, but I used to have to. This is what I was going to tell you guys. When I would go to Steve Gorski's house, I brought the same article of clothing that I was wearing to bed, and a hefty garbage bag with me because I would put the garbage bag on my pants.
Mm-hmm. What?
Because I wet my bed until I was in 7th grade.
So you were a little traumatized to do sleepovers because there could have been an accident.
And if I had an accident, I would wake up really early in the morning and I would go. No, my friends didn't notice that I had the garbage bag there because I would wait till they all fell asleep and then I'd put the garbage bag on.
Oh my God,
and I'd basically
so
be peeing into the garbage bag.
Didn't that give you anxiety? That's probably where your anxiety came from.
The sleepover gave me anxiety, exactly. But I wanted to be there because you didn't want to miss any opportunities.
Right.
For a little bit there, I would pretend like my, sisters and my dad wouldn't let me have a sleepover.
But imagine if they discovered all this, you would have been labeled with a nickname for life that would stick with you the rest of school. You'd be Tinkle Tom or something.
Right. You're right.
Tinkle Tom.
That's where the nicknames were born.
Hey, Amy, what's up?
So my brothers both have sons, and they're right around the same age, about a year apart. And my one nephew will go to the other nephew's house, but only if he can bring his big screen TV and his console, and they sit next to each other with their big screen TVs, their own consoles, so they can play video games with each other.
They bring a TV to the other person's house?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes, like 46-inch TV.
I never did the TV, but we did the consoles. We used to bring consoles.
Yeah, my daughter brings her consoles.
I live right next door to my brother. I live next door to my brother, and I was watching my nephew leaving the house to go to my other nephews carrying this big, huge TV. And I'm like,
oh my gosh.
I remember we had to pack a bag. That was pretty much it, but I never had to bring a TV. That's wild. Veronica, what's up? It's Mojo in the Morning.
Hi, how are you?
Good. What's going on?
Good. So I agree. We don't do sleepovers either. I've got 2 sons, and just for personal reasons as well. But I let my son have a sleepover like 2 summers ago. I let his friend spend the night, and he was kind of weird anyway. But after he left the next day, Vinny, my son, showed me his library book. He's like, "Look what my friend did in the book," and he had drawn like penises all over inside of his book. And my kid was like 7 at the time, so he didn't even know how to draw one. I was like, okay, that's it. We're not doing sleepovers anymore.
Kids will be kids.
2 texters that are interesting here. Shannon, you and the other parents should share your Nest Cam videos. Or logins, so that you can see your kids at all times, so you actually know that the kids are being taken care of.
For sure, I get that idea. I only have a Nest Cam in 2 rooms of my house, though. And not in a bedroom.
And because somebody said it's like a daycare, you're leaving your kids at a daycare, and a lot of daycares have those. And then another one here. This is from 313 says, is Shannon and Hot Brick Paver guy having a sleepover anytime soon?
No.
Yeah. How are you going to have your cuddle time if you don't get the kids over someone else's house?
Well, remember, I only have the kids every other week. But no, the answer is no.
Oh, so there's a possibility. That's what you're saying.
After I said no 3 times.
We'll be right back with more Mojo in the Morning.
Think there's a chance.